Welcome back everyone to more of our gameplay series of X4 Foundations, and we are out and about. We're actually on our way to get a promotion.
System, Profit Center Alpha.
And this particular promotion is one that I wasn't sure we were ever going to get to, because it is one of the minor Talati factions that frankly does not have a huge presence in the universe, but we have finally traded with them enough to get to the +10. Let's hop into the map right here, and you can see we're over here in Profit Center Alpha, which is Talati space, and it is the Ministry of Finance, I believe. It's either Ministry of Finance or Defense. Let's actually take a look. I forget. Again, they are not a huge faction within the game itself as far as the number of systems and stations, but it's Ministry of Finance. There we go. So we've reached that +10. But the even bigger reason why we are out and about right now is because we need to possibly pick up some additional blueprints. So while we are awaiting our docking procedure there, let's take a quick look at where we are. I have added several new supply ships, and some of them have specific names, such as Refined Metals Trader, Energy Cell Trader, Wharf Trader, because we now have our Wharf. And so if we pop over real quick to our home, boy, has a lot been going on over here. So I have 2 admin centers built. We had gotten started on the first one last time. I decided to put the second one right over here, at least pretty close to this accelerator, to take you over into the other silent witness in the area. But our wharf is right here toward the very beginning area, right as you come through the accelerator, to sort of diminish the amount of time that our traders have to spend going back and forth from the wharf. Obviously, the wharf is going to take tons and tons of materials, and we'll look at that as soon as we get our promotion. But in order for our wharf to be fully functional, not only do we need to have the wharf built, but we need to make sure that we have it stocked with all the materials we need to build these ships. So let's hop over to the rep's office, and from here, once we get our promotion, we'll be hopping over to the parentage system to get some more blueprints.
Good to see you, friend. Under our watchful gaze, we have identified you as someone worth approaching to express our gratitude. I am pleased to present you with a new rank amongst the ministry. As you can expect, this rank comes with great benefits. These benefits are tied to the rank. Should you turn against the ministry, you will not only lose such benefits, but any goodwill. With your record, I am confident to say that is not to be the case. We hope you find these rewards fitting for the work you've done. Be proud and profitable. In addition, you may also find that certain organizations under our jurisdiction now have interest in you joining their ranks. Once again, thank you for your service. We look forward to working with you more in the future. Good profit to you.
All right, and while I'm here, what kind of blueprints do you have? While we're here, I mean, you might as well look. Okay, so you guys have several, not quite all of the production modules. You have, yes, you do have the Talati defense modules, docking modules. Yep, you got a few of those as well. And then ships. Do you sell any ships? Yes, you do. Okay, so that's good to know. So one of the things with the wharf is, in order to build ships for the different factions, you have to have their blueprints. So in order to build an Argon ship, we have to have the blueprint from Argon to do that, as well as the engines and shields and so forth, if they have their own specific. Oh, we have, this is no good right here. I don't like this at all. All right, so let's get this guy out of here. Get the drill guy out. Are you going to do anything about this? Okay, so we dealt with this quite a bit in the last video. These guys are not doing anything? Okay, I'm going to try not to look at this right now. This has been so frustrating. Now, I love it that it's part of the game. You look over here, and however you want to pronounce this. Part of me wants to pronounce it, just say kayak, just to have some fun with it. But the kayak, they have an installation right over here, and that may not be the only one. It's just the only one I've uncovered so far. But at this point, okay, guys, are y'all gonna like do anything? This is driving me nuts. Okay, I can't just let this guy get destroyed without doing anything. So you can see he's attached to the admin center, and the admin center has full capabilities of sending these guys out. Where are you guys at? Okay, let's do this. All right, attack. And nope. Let's make this as difficult as possible, game. And attack. Okay, for right now, you guys just work on that. Wow, while we come back over to the game. All right, so let's pop back into our ship. And from here, we are actually going to head over. Let me grab that. And hopefully, yeah, again, these guys, they're just sort of chilling. Just, okay, I'm not going to get on that again. I have to promise myself, because the AI in this game, when it comes to combat, is just anything but what I would prefer. So we need to head down here to the pyramid system. Where is there? Yeah, here we go. Again, look for the crown. So let's dock and wait there. So that shouldn't take but just a moment. But I was actually roaming around and picking up a lot of different blueprints. And apparently I missed a few from the pyramid, I believe, because I did not see them in the wharf. So let's actually come back over to our wharf and let's take a look real quick. And I will show you guys what I have picked up to this point. And okay, at least they're doing something. As much as I want to ignore it, I just can't, because it drives me nuts. So if we want to build ships, so right now I only have small ships because that's nearly everything that gets built in my wharf in different playthroughs. So they're always fighters. Again, probably 95% of them are fighters. So I went and I've picked up some different blueprints from the Argon Federation as well as the Pyramid. And here you can see just a few of them. I couldn't remember the ones that they normally buy in my playthroughs, so I picked up the most popular ones from each. But as I started looking through the engines, you can see my normal default way of doing this is I pick up the Mark 1 and 2 versions of each of the engines. I never get the Mark 3 versions, and that's never been a problem in the past. So I pick up the all-around Mark 1 and 2 and Combat Mark 1 and 2, and then, if available, the Travel 1 and 2. And here I noticed
Bright Promise.
I only have the Argon Federation versions of these, so I was like, I must have forgotten to pick those up. Now, thrusters, you don't have to really worry about.
Trinity Sanctum.
Because once you've seen the thrusters, you've seen the thrusters. They're not really unique to the individual factions. And then over here in the shields, again, Mark 1 and 2 versions, and I have the Pyramid as well as the Argon. So I must have forgotten whenever I was with the Pyramid the first time to pick up their engines. So that is why we are headed over there at this point. And once again, I have to do this. I have to look. Looks like one guy escaped. That's perfectly fine. Okay, so we just destroyed one guy, which brings me to the next issue. As you can see in the background, since you can see through just a little bit, we're almost over here to land, and this guy is doing the smart thing. He was trying to escape, and now he is not going to make it. So let's talk a little bit about salvage. My salvage operation has gone completely wrong in pretty much every way that it could have. The first issue I had, and I couldn't figure out what was doing it, I had all the materials, I had energy cells, I had both of the modules, I had everything, storage, you name it. But the guys would not take the salvage over to our HQ and put it on the module for it to be processed. And I could not figure it out. And finally, after doing a little bit of digging through the forums, I figured out that it's because of the CAC. None of these CAC, again, however you're supposed to say that, none of these can be salvaged, which is very unfortunate because I have no shortage of them in this sector. So that's what the problem was. My guys were going, the Manticore would go, and they would pick it up, and they would try to deliver it. It couldn't be delivered. So essentially, we were just stuck in an endless loop. Once I learned of this oversight, I assumed from the developers, then I basically just turned the Manticore off because I don't have time to deal with them manually. I've got way too much going on in here. So I thought, okay, we'll wait for the next update, the next beta update. And sure enough, we've gotten that. Actually, just before I started recording today, we got another update. Again, by the time you guys see this recording, it will probably be several updates past because I am pre-recording this series. But the new beta update actually dealt with that, and it said, okay, the automatic salvage will no longer pick up ships and salvage that it cannot process, which would include this. So I turned these guys back on. I turned the Manticore back on, and then I come to my second problem, which was the first thing they wanted to do was run right over here by this installation for the CAC and get destroyed. So all three of my Manticore are now gone. And it drives me nuts. So again, my frustration with the AI knows no bounds in this game, which is why I use the mods that I use. And I'm sure in the future, I will be looking for even more mods to address some of these issues. But for now, we have no salvage operation because we have no more ships. And at this point, if they're going to behave that way, I don't want to get any more ships for a little while until at least I can manually operate them. All right, so let's head over to the rep's office and let's get some things done. Now, for those of you who are waiting for me to get back to the main story, I do apologize. That was the plan today. But, yeah, that had to get pushed back. But we are going to get to it. I promise. I just unfortunately cannot promise when. All right, so let's look at some blueprints. So again, any blueprints that I own will show that I own them. So let's actually look at the small ships. You can see here, I own these two. Now, I have not gotten any of the miners for anything yet because those traditionally are not a heavily bought item from me. But let's look. All right, so we got, let's see, I've got plenty of weapons. Remember, we're only doing the small weapons right now. I'm focusing on the small ones, and you can see I've got plenty of these. So they should have absolutely no trouble finding weapons. Now, I only have the Mark 1 versions for the most part because they don't seem to care, again, in my previous playthroughs. No turrets on small vessels, so you don't have to worry about those for now. Shield generators. Let's see, we've got, okay, I got the Mark 1, Mark 2 versions. All right, that's what I thought we had. And engines. This is apparently what I forgot to do. All right, so let's go ahead and pick up Mark 1 and Mark 2 of the all-around combat 1, 2, and then the travel drive 1 and 2. You can see all of these together, only 1.3 million credits, so we're perfectly fine there. Before we finish up, let's make sure, yeah, we own those. Okay, so we should be good to go.
Safe journey.
All right, let's hop back over to the wharf real quick before we leave here. And let's take a look, because I want to show you guys the wharf. Let's go to the plan build. So what I decided to do with this one is this is sort of a little bit of a mishmash of stuff to get going, but I do have a few defense platforms. I got one here on the beginning of the wharf, right in the front. Then I've got two on the rear, and then we have our biomes. These are Talati biomes because I love the look of those. So those are medium biomes, which should give us plenty of workers. And then I have tons and tons of large storage. Now, I've got way more than we need right now, way more. But my plans are to eventually move into the bigger ships, the large and extra large. So this should save me the time of having to add more storage when that comes. And of course, if you remember from our other stations, the storage modules also allow you to put turrets and shields on them. So that's another reason why I wanted to have so many of them. It just gives me more weapons. All right, so then now that we've seen the basic design, again, nothing special about the design. The wharf itself looks identical to the other wharfs we've been in. In fact, identical to the one we're in right now. And let's now move over to the logistical station overview. Starting out with the main fabrication bay. And if we come in here, we can set the pricing. Now, I have never seen any reason to lower the price below 150%. Perhaps an update has changed that, but for right now, I'm leaving it at that. And that's really it. Now, you can also change who you want to, which factions you want to build for, which ones you don't. But here, you can see we're just now starting to get our first little bit of resources in here. This thing has not been completed very long at all. Do we have advanced? Okay, we got a few. Anyway, we got, once again, another one of our traders is taking care of us. Smart chips, look like we got a few. And you'll notice that I have moved the marker here a little bit. By default, the game will allocate a certain amount of storage to each and every one of these items. And with that, it will attempt to fill those completely up. Well, that's way more than we need right now, so I have simply adjusted the buy level on these, buy up to, and I've simply taken it down to about a fourth, somewhere in that range, and I could go even lower than that. But I definitely don't want to spend money, because what I have found the AI generally do is they will attempt to fill up one of these at the expense of several others, so I'm hoping to avoid that over the long term. We scroll down a little bit more. We've got our oils and our medical supplies. That is for our workforce, which you can see, in fact, just went up a little bit. And these will continue to increase until we reach the level that we need. And here you can see, do you want us to fill the entire habitat, which means get all 800 people that we could fit as our capacity? Or do we only want to get what we need? In this case, it is 800, so we're not going to have to worry too much about that. And then as we finally scroll down a little bit more, our station account is 5.3 million credits, and that's to make sure that we have plenty of money to get what we need, aside from that stuff that is going to be supplied by our very own traders. So everything is looking good. Let's hop over to the Terran. Let's look one more time before I leave here. So weapons, we are good to go. Let's see, where are we? Small, so we've got the mass driver, beam emitter, we've got bolt repeaters, we have the burst ray, again, just the Mark 1 version of all of these. In fact, let's go ahead and pick up, while I'm here, the Mark 2 version of the bolt repeater, because that's one I want to use when we start building. And let's see, what else? There are some torpedo launchers. Let's go ahead and get the Mark II version since it's so cheap. The mining drill we don't really need, but we'll go ahead and pick that up because in the future we will be building some miners for them. In all likelihood anyway. Let's go ahead and pick up a few more of the Mark II. I'm trying not to spend too much money. You can see we went from having, what, 140, 150 million credits down to 20 and 30. So I'm trying not to spend too much money at any given time, but I do want to give them some options. We will not be picking up the Mass Driver Mark II version, the medium or the small, because they are extremely expensive. Okay, I like it. And from there, let's go ahead and pick up the Mark II, the beam. We might as well. It's the only one we didn't have, I think. Except for the torpedo and the shard battery. Okay, we're sticking with this. All right, now let's come back to our wharf, and we may hop over to the HOP. I want to say that the HOP have identical models to these, or at least the names, the models themselves. Maybe not the stats, but the names. All right, so let's see if we can build a complete parentage ship. All right, so we got, we'll go all around 2. We have combat 2. And we have travel 2. Okay, so we can do that. We'll just do travel. I'll tell you what, no, we'll go ahead and do combat because that's what I would do with this ship. And we'll do combat Mark 2. Shields, we'll use the Paranid Mark II. And we'll do They only have 2 weapons, and we'll just do bolt repeaters. Again, we're not building this. I just want to see that we have plenty of options in here and nothing is left out. So we can do all of these. By the way, I really need some police scanners because I need some police vessels going on through our area. As the CAC have become a huge problem, we have tons of satellites available for them that they can build. We got mines, probes, you name it. We got it. I made sure to buy all of that. And of course, we got people on the station. And okay, there may not be enough. Okay, no big deal there. But what is it telling me? They will not be able to supply any more crew members. Okay, that'll take care of itself over time as we continue to increase. Okay, so it looks like we can do that. We definitely need some more materials, but that's to be expected. But I like it. We can get this done. Now, the worrisome thing for me is in the past, by this point, I have had several orders already come in. So that's worrisome to me. I'm not having any orders. I'm not sure if that's a price thing, or we'll deal with that a little bit later on. But right now, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and hop back over to the wharf, out into our ship, and I want to hop over to Holy Vision because I want to get, and again, once again, looking for that crown. Oops. We're not trying to give orders to the wharf. At least not this one. So yeah, we'll see. Again, this is all stuff. It's all brand new for this particular playthrough anyway. So we'll give it a little bit of time to see if the wharf picks up business. If not, I'll keep checking around. I'll check my blueprints to make sure I have those. And of course, all along the way, they'll be bringing in new supplies. You can see there's more supplies coming in there. Looks like this guy just dropped off to some supplies as well. Okay, so far so good. While I'm thinking about it, let's take a look at this energy cell factory. So lots going on. All right, these guys have still not gotten here. Okay, so I picked up, again, I'm trying to expand our defenses, especially now that I know we've got these guys here in the system in a pretty big way.
Unholy retribution.
And a lot of that comes from the fact that there's a lot more mining going on here now than there was at the beginning of the game. So this is why it's picking up more activity with enemies, particularly the cat or the kayak.
System. Ice mists.
So I'm trying to pick up some more. I've got now some guys over here in this area. I'm not sure if they're actually doing anything based on what I saw from the behavior of these guys. Okay, so I'm actually going to send these guys. Do I want to put them back on the admin center, or let's do something a little bit different.
Claim.
Let's actually put them right about here. And
entering system. Holy Vision.
I forgot. I need to come into the information screen here for behavior. And I'm going to put it on repeat orders. Okay, and now that will allow me, once I confirm that, they will repeat whatever orders I give them right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set them up right about here to attack anyone in range. And then I'm going to have them go over to here and do the same thing. So basically, they're just going to patrol this area. And I can make this as big of a patrol area as I want. The problem I have had with this behavior, and in fact, I'm going to go ahead and move this around just a little bit. But the problem I've had is that sometimes there might be an enemy inside the circle. They fixate on the target. And as soon as they do that, the enemy will sort of go outside of this globe here, and then they just drop it. So they never actually get to take care of anything, defeat anything, because as long as the enemy gets outside of this circle, they don't seem to care. All right, so of course we know we got one. I'm going to have them stick nearby the energy cell for now. And let's see, let's get these guys as well. Let's just have them do something very similar. So let's get off the energy cell, go to Admin Center 2, and let's pick the Corvette, and I'm going to remove all your orders and assignments. In fact, information, and we want you to repeat, confirm that, and I'm going to have you guys, let's see, what do we want to do? I don't even know why that formation is that. Let's just do the V formation. No? Not going to let me do that? Okay, there we go. I was beginning to get a little concerned. Thought maybe I wasn't really in command of my own ships. So I'm going to have you guys do the attack in range, like over in this area. So what I'll do, this will at least get these guys moving around a little bit. And then I will add a few more, and I will put them sort of down in this area. What I'm trying to do is sort of build some defenses and in these general areas around the stations to sort of keep the CAC on the outskirts and not allow them to get too far inside. Now I'm going to need to do the same thing over here eventually, in all likelihood, because some of my miners have been coming over there. But these are the things that you deal with as you work your way through a playthrough in this game. Again, all depends on what type of playthrough you like to do, what style of playthrough you like to do, but these are the things you will encounter as you get farther along with stations and fleets and so forth. You're going to lose a lot of ships throughout a gameplay, and let's see, let's go ahead and minimize this, and let's just take a quick look as we finish up today's video at our fleets. Here recently, I added 10 more traders out there, and it looks like some of those have already been knocked off and killed. Yep, there they are right there. So there's only 8 of them left. This particular fleet had 5, I believe, at the beginning. Now it's got 2. Let's see, what other traders? And again, the same thing goes for the miners. These, I believe there were 5 in this one as well. Here, I believe 4 is right. Traders, I believe there were 10 here. So you can see I've lost several. So that's going to be part of what I'll call Phase 2. Phase 1 was setting up our initial income. Traders, miners, and so forth, and maybe getting our first station. Stage 2 is starting to fortify some of our areas. Again, I might add a defensive station out in here. Couple more of those, who knows, but starting to fortify some things, and that will include Hatikva's Choice 1 for me. I'd really like to fortify right in this area because the Xenon come through that jump gate right there and spend a lot of time in this area. So I'm thinking, in fact, there's one right now who's going back. So there are some areas on the map that I really want to fortify because it will really enable us to improve our income going forward without having to lose so many ships, because I would really like to spend most of our credits going forward on building new stations and building new ships instead of having to worry so much about getting more ships and replacing them, the ones that we have lost. So yeah, I can see some of these fleets have gone down in numbers. That's okay. That's part of the game, as well as the CAC. All of this is part of the game, and it's fun because it keeps you on your toes. But one thing it doesn't do is allow you to necessarily spend a lot of time looking for different missions, including the main story. So we'll get to those as soon as I can get to a point where things have stabilized a little bit. But for today, we got done what we needed to get done, and I'll stick with it. Make sure that wharf is operating at optimum capacity, and we'll see you again next time here in X4 Foundations.